The Crithian War Council assembled in the obsidian chamber, their crystalline forms refracting the pale light of their dying star. Commander Zixthor stood before the holographic display, watching the blue-green planet rotate peacefully in the void. "Earth," he announced, his voice resonating through the mineral frequencies his species used for communication. Population 8 billion. Technology level primitive. Military capability negligible. The council members pulsed with anticipation. Earth sat at the nexus of 3 jump routes, making it strategically invaluable. The humans would need to be removed, a simple matter for an empire that had conquered 47 star systems. But Elder Vorshan, the oracle who had guided the Crithian people for 3 centuries, raised a crystalline appendage. "I have seen the threads of probability," he warned, his ancient voice crackling like breaking glass. "These humans are different. If you strike first, they'll never stop. Never." Zixthor dismissed the warning with a wave. Oracles had their uses, but military strategy required logic, not mysticism. Within a solar cycle, the invasion fleet departed. Elizabeth Chen watched the sky burn from the roof of MIT's astrophysics building. She had been working late on her doctoral thesis when the first kinetic strikes hit major cities. New York, Beijing, London, Moscow, gone in brilliant flashes that lit up the night like dying stars. Her phone buzzed with emergency alerts, then went silent as the electromagnetic pulse swept across the eastern seaboard. Around her, students and professors emerged onto the roof, staring in horror at the mushroom clouds blooming on the horizon. "They came from nowhere," someone whispered. "We never saw them coming." But Elizabeth had seen them. For 3 weeks, her radio telescope had been picking up anomalous signals, gravitational distortions that suggested massive objects entering the solar system. She had reported it to her advisor, who had dismissed it as equipment malfunction. She had been right, and now 3 billion people were dead. "We need to get underground." Noah Rodriguez, her lab partner, grabbed her arm. His dark eyes reflected the firelight on the horizon. "Elizabeth, we need to move now." They descended into the basement laboratories as the second wave of attacks began. But something unexpected happened. The aliens had anticipated total surrender. Instead, they encountered resistance. Commander Zixthor reviewed the battlefield reports with growing confusion. The humans should have collapsed. Their governments had been decapitated, their military command structures obliterated, their major population centers reduced to radioactive craters. By all strategic calculations, they should be offering unconditional surrender. Instead, they fought harder. Human military forces that survived the initial strikes had gone underground, emerging to strike at Crithian ground forces with suicidal ferocity. Civilian populations armed themselves with whatever they could find. A Crithian battalion had been wiped out in a place called Texas by farmers using improvised explosives. "They're irrational," Zixthor reported to the War Council. "They continue fighting despite overwhelming tactical disadvantage." Elder Vorshan's warning echoed in his mind. They'll never stop. 5 years into the occupation, Elizabeth stood in the command center of Resistance Cell Gamma 7, buried 300 meters beneath what had once been the Appalachian Mountains. Her doctorate in astrophysics had proven unexpectedly useful in reverse engineering Crithian shield technology. Noah entered, covered in tunnel dust, carrying recovered alien power cells. He had changed, as they all had. The gentle graduate student had become a hardened soldier, but his eyes still softened when he looked at her. "We hit their supply depot in Sector 9, he reported. "Recovered enough quantum batteries to power the Philadelphia ruins for a month." Elizabeth nodded, marking the victory on their tactical map. The map was covered in pins, red for Crithian positions, blue for human resistance cells. The blue pins had been spreading. "Zixthor sent another surrender offer," she said, pulling up the translated message. "He's offering us a protected reservation zone in Australia. 20 million humans can survive there under Crithian supervision." Noah laughed bitterly. "Down from 8 billion. How generous." "He doesn't understand," Elizabeth said, studying the alien commander's psychological profile they had built over years of intercepted communications. "They conquered 47 species before us. Every single one surrendered when their governments fell. They can't comprehend why we won't." "Because we're human," Noah said simply. "We're too stupid to know when we're beaten." But Elizabeth knew it was more than that. Humans had survived ice ages and plagues, world wars, and near extinctions. They had climbed from caves to space through sheer bloody-minded persistence. The Crithians had made a fatal error. They thought destroying human governments would destroy human will. They had only made humanity angry. 10 years after the invasion, Commander Zixthor's fleet limped back to Crithian space. Of the 300 warships that had attacked Earth, 72 remained. The humans had captured alien technology, learned it, improved it, and turned it against their creators with terrifying efficiency. The Crithian Empire, which had stood for 12,000 years, was crumbling. Human strike forces had followed the retreating fleet, hitting Crithian colony worlds with devastating precision. They had allied with species the Crithians had conquered, teaching them human tactics, human stubbornness, human rage. Elder Vorshan met Zixthor in the obsidian chamber, now cracked and damaged from human orbital bombardment. "You were warned," the oracle said. "I saw the probability threads. Every simulation showed the same result. The humans are not like other species. They do not forgive. They do not forget. They do not stop." Zixthor's crystalline form had dulled with age and defeat. "What are they?" "Survivors," Vorshan replied. "They evolved on a death world, competing with predators that should have destroyed them. They survived by being more stubborn than anything that tried to kill them. You struck first. Now they will never stop until either we are gone or they are." The final human fleet appeared in Crithian space 3 months later. Elizabeth stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, the flagship built from scavenged alien technology and human ingenuity. Noah commanded the Marine contingent, ready to deploy if the Crithians chose to fight. But they didn't. The surviving Crithian leadership transmitted their unconditional surrender. Elizabeth accepted it, knowing that humanity would spend the next century ensuring the Crithians could never threaten anyone again. They would dismantle the Empire, liberate the conquered species, and transform the galactic order. And the galaxy would learn what the Crithians learned too late. Humanity could forgive many things, but they would never forgive those who struck first. Elder Vorshan had been right. Humanity would never stop, not until the job was finished. End.